I mean, I'll tell you the inside voice that doesn't come out very often, which is nobody gives a shit about your brand
Yeah,
as much as you do. I'm
right.
sorry. Like, that is the unfortunate truth for any business leader.
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasman, and joining me today is a brand new rock star. Super excited to dive in today. She's a creative force in the branded merch industry who runs her family business alongside her dad, or used to be with her dad, and recently completed the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. She's here to share a unique take on making merch actually work. Vera Minot, thank you so much for joining me.
Yay, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I'm really excited to dive into this conversation. You and I separately have had some really fun conversations, and so this will be the first time that we've actually recorded it. So, dig in this. So, you know that me and my daughter work together in the industry, and work in this merch industry, and at least at one point, we're alongside your dad. So I'm curious, what was the best part of that working with your dad? But also on the other side, what was like a part where you had to have a hard conversation as business partner?
Okay, well, I have to answer slightly cheekily because I grew up with my parents being entrepreneurs. So I was the unpaid labor in their
For
actually in the
sure.
manufacturing industry or manufacturing for the promotional products industry. So I stuffed a lot of catalogs for no money at all, but it was great because I also didn't have to think about revenue or paying bills. So I have to say that was probably my favorite building business alongside my dad. But I
Yeah.
think I really appreciate how I really appreciate how we are able to learn. It feels like learning across time, right? Like he brings so much to the table that feels like from another world, right? It's so generationally removed from me because he's got such a different lived experience. There's so much to pull from that. And conversely, I bring a lot to the table that I suspect makes him wonder if I was placed here by aliens in the crib, also. You know what I mean? And so it's a joy to figure out how to like touch rings in that space. Um, but also it's so easy to like toe up with one another. I think because we trust in the relationship, like he's never not going to be my dad, right? That foundation is strong, which makes it so easy to fight in a way that is not necessarily the best. So
Sure, sure, sure.
having hard combos is like that was a regular occurrence before he retired. And the hardest part was actually figuring out how to dial that back,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
it's so, yeah, I do. So it's funny. Two things, observations. Number one, I love that because I think that, there are a lot of relationships where the younger person doesn't value the experience of the person who's been around. And conversely, you know, we old guys don't always value the young lady's opinion. And I think that when you can cross that, I think that it's one of the things I try really hard to do because I'm like, okay, they're seeing things differently. They're consuming different media. Like they have a perspective that I don't have. And as long as you look at it like that, that's you can really gain a lot from each other. I think there's some truth to that. But what you said is exactly right, and it's funny because Amy, nope, that's my wife. Jade is, and I were having a conversation today. It's like, okay, what's 5 years look like? 5 years from now, what's that look like? Who's making the decisions? And it was actually a pretty positive conversation as long as we have it today.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
and yeah, so that's when it, yeah, so that's really interesting.
I also find that, like, if we're not careful, it's so easy to place the other one in some sort of camp and not let them leave that camp. So, for example, with me and my dad, and it like happens concurrently, at least for us. I'm like, okay, well, he's always going to have a negative approach, right? Like he's going to see the what's wrong with this. That's the perspective that he takes. And as such, I am going to position myself on the opposite side and see the positive. And it's just a terrible feedback loop if you can't break out of it, because then he's like, well, Vera only sees the positive. And as such, if I don't balance with the
Right.
negative, right, then we are imbalanced and this is a potential problem. And so we're both actually just doing the same thing of trying to balance the other one out, when really we kind of just need to raise the flag and be like, hey, you want to just meet in the middle?
By the way, that's good advice whether you're talking to your dad or not, right?
Yes, your
So,
partner,
yeah,
your
exactly.
friends. Yeah.
So I do want to jump to the next thing, which is you recently completed this Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses. I've been wanting to talk to you about this. I saw your post about this. So what was the biggest thing you walked away with that changed how you think about your business?
Man, I I had a like four bullet points that I walked away with. And I'm not 100% sure if this just came strictly out of the curriculum of the program, which was amazing and I highly recommend it. I'm still exhausted. And, or if it's like just the wisdom that comes out of my brain and soul reintegrating after so much work. But the takeaways for me are not all customers are good customers. And at the same time, not all money is good money. But the second bullet point to that is like, how do you figure that out, right? How do you know which customers are good customers or not? And conversely with money. And I think for me, and probably everybody, I don't know, I need to have clarity in what I bring to the table and what my values are, like real deep clarity about my values as an individual and as a business. Because at the end of the day, you can really cut through a lot of the chaff and evaluate, is this something we need to move forward with? Is there alignment here or not? Because every conversation pretty much is actually a negotiation of some kind. I didn't know that. Kind of blew my mind. Makes a lot of sense now. I'm like, duh. But
Yeah.
the notion was very fresh to me. And the way that one works through negotiations is with clarity in who they are.
Yeah.
There's power in that. So,
Well, yeah, and it does kind of help you understand what you are willing to accept, what you are not willing to accept, and then on, like you said, what you're excited about.
right.
Right. So I love that. That's really interesting. So you said you recommend it. Why?
Oh my gosh. Well, I, like so many supposedly gifted millennials and younger, have a healthy amount of imposter syndrome because of a long history of adults telling me I have so much potential, but then there being no obvious path for how to explore what that potential is. You know what I mean? So there's like a confidence and a lack of direction. And the way that I fill those gaps for me and find stability is by getting the knowledge, getting the information that I don't have. That was another thing I learned in this program. Like, if I just have unidentified anxiety clouds, it's probably because there's data that I need that I
Mm,
don't have,
I love that. I actually
right?
really
So
like
just
that.
like
Yeah.
it's a clue now. If I have like fear, doom whispers, get the data and then let's evaluate from there.
Mm, that's really good. It's funny. I was just having a cover. It's the opposite for me. When I start getting really pissed about stuff I shouldn't be pissed about, it usually means I'm keeping too much up here and I
Oh,
need to get
yeah.
it out. Like I need to
Yeah.
like do a brain dump. And so that's really insightful. All right. I'm going to shift gears on you. Um, you have a creative approach to branded merch that I think stands out. And I mean that a total compliment. How do you think about merch differently than most people in the industry, do you think? And what does that look like when it's done really well?
Okay, well, I'm going to paint a picture because I feel bad. I'm not trying to talk smack about people in the industry right now, but I think we can all imagine the same like sales guy from the 80s in his like pleated trousers and he's all boo boo boo, very car salesy, and he like throws a catalog at you, right? And is like, these get so many impressions. So there's this like old school, very order taking approach to merch that's, in my mind, it's just about how many eyeballs are on your logo. And I just don't think that that's just not good enough. That's also not in this current, 2026 landscape. There's probably potentially better tools for just getting quantity of eyes.
Right, right, right.
So if it's not about quantity of eyes, it needs to be about quality of eyes. Um, and for me, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, thanks to, frankly, the Goldman Sachs thing. And I'm like constantly thinking about clarity. And it occurred to me that what are we trying to say to each other ever, like humans, whether you're doing sales for a company or you're in HR or whatever, we're constantly asking the people around us, hey, trust me. Hey, trust me, we do good work. Hey, trust me, you can be yourself here. You can build a career here. Hey, trust me, I understand your lived experience. Trust me, you've made the right decision to be here, to do this, whatever. It's all about like, trust me. So, how do we communicate trust to each other as people? There's like a bunch of ways, right? I like to rely on humor, sentimentality. My wife likes to rely on functional, showing up functionally. People use like cultural pride and identity pride as a trust building tool. Beauty and design can be a trust building tool. So each of these are like different paths that you can take or combine bits and pieces from and then apply to the merch strategy, right? Like pick your path and then think about as you choose your product and then you choose your imprint design. And then last, but definitely not least, like how are you deploying that product? Because every one of those, the product, the imprint, and the deployment of it is an opportunity to communicate trust along one or multiple of those paths. So that was a lot of theory, but I
Yeah.
think like when you really think about what are you trying to say, who are you trying to make trust you and why, and to what end, like it becomes easier to think through what does that moment look like human to human, and what's the merch piece or merch strategy that makes that moment more impactful.
Hmm. Yeah, this is like you said, it's a little bit of deep thinking, but I think in a good way. Like one of the things that I always say is that one of the ways that I show trust is I really know who I'm talking to and what matters to them, right? Like, and
Yeah,
so all those things that you were talking about, so one of those things might matter more to you. And if I can communicate it in a way that matters to you, then you'll go, okay, they get me. And so I
yeah,
trust them. Right. And
yeah,
so for me, that's the foundational piece of that. And I love what you're saying on that, because if you get those right, then it's just not about impressions. It's about an emotional connection.
yeah, totally. And
Yeah.
then there's, I mean, you just like, you skip a bunch of steps. It's not that you can't get to
Yeah.
that connection point without good merch, but gosh, it is kind of like a cheat code to,
Agreed.
to being able to have a more real interaction with somebody right
Yeah.
away.
So I'm curious, and I'm going to go off script a little bit just because I want to know what you think about this, Vera. Like, what I'm sure you run into folks that are just like, look, I just want to put my slap my logo on a T-shirt, and I want to. That's what I want. What do you what conversations do you have with them about leaving that trust or that money on the table?
I mean, I'll tell you the inside voice that doesn't come out very often, which is nobody gives a shit about your brand
Yeah.
as much as you do. I'm
Right.
sorry. Like that is the unfortunate truth for any business leader to learn at some point. Nobody cares about your brand as much as you do, unless you're like, I don't know, I'm not talking about like the Nikes of the world, whatever. They've done a
Sure.
great job. They've built their brand into something that can stand on its own. But like sweet little senior home care, healthcare, local owned company, like it's different if we're talking about the stuff that your internal team wants to wear when they gear up to feel like they're a part of the team. That's one thing. But if you're just wanting to give shirts to people nobody cares that much. So I don't normally say it out loud quite like that, but I I do encourage them to think about like what are the things that your company stands for
There we
that
go.
people can feel proud to call their
Yeah.
own, right? Like maybe your company values are just really incredible and there's a reason why people love working with you, right? What are those values? And maybe we could explore having featuring those so that you still feel like you're getting hella exposure for your brand on this shirt, but just like less logo slappy.
Yeah, it's funny. I was about to push back, and then I think that, but then I feel like you brought it back because I'm like, but they could care. They could
They
care
could.
if you
Yes.
connected to the things that you were talking about that built trust with
Yes.
them, and then they'll want to like it does actually come full circle.
They can care. You kind of have to tell people why they should care. It's
Right.
a gift to not have to tell them that, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
gift for when they're like, "Oh, yes, I'm with you." But most of the time you kind of have to feed them like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is
Well, you
this is
build
why
it,
we're cool."
right? You
Exactly.
build it because then once they know, then they care.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, Vera, this has been
Wait,
great.
what do you tell
What
them? I want to know. What do you tell them when they're like, "Just slap it on there"?
No, I think we're leaning into the concept of what you said is something. The way I articulate it is putting something on the front of the shirt that people give a shit about, and put your logo on the back of the shirt.
Yes.
Right, like, so what we're talking, and we actually do this. I'm not actually wearing one, but we have T-shirts, and they'll say something along the line: "Be kind, uh, spread joy, embrace the hustle." So we're like, hey, be kind, push out some good, but you still got to work. Okay, so that's a message that we'll put on the front of a T-shirt. Our logo might go back here. Those are the kind of things that I think people then go, oh, I identify that message, so I probably identify with the brand.
Yes.
That's kind of what we do, and we do it. And I always say that you can tell what I care about by what I put my name on, because I'm spending my own dollars on it. And so when you look at that, that's, I don't only tell people that, we try to do it, if that makes sense.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
All right. So Vera, thank you so much. This has been really fun. I knew it would be. Where can people connect with you? Where can they find more information about you?
Let's see. Probably LinkedIn. If you like hearing about my thoughts, LinkedIn is where that happens. If you like the notion of silly shenanigans, Instagram for my company Southwest Solutions is where that happens. And if you like falling to the bottom of a ghostly inbox and being replied to weeks later, you could certainly reach out to me via email. That's just not ideal.
All right. So I think LinkedIn and Instagram sounds like the
Probably
place to
LinkedIn
go.
and
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Vera, this has been really fun. I really appreciate you taking the time. We'll have to do it again, okay?
Totally. I would love that.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.